Alright, so today we're going to be going over the global tier list and pretty much explaining what each character is good for and how you should be using it. Or I say should, there's other ways of using it than the optimal, but in any case, more of like a guidance and suggestion, if anything. This website I'm going to link in the description if you want also to bookmark it for information. The people who made this tier list are current JP and Korea players. They do have a good idea of the characters, and as far as, me disagreeing, there's very little. I do think Ronaldo should be obviously at the top, but for PvE, I digress, right? In any case, I'm going to be going over the characters, what they're going to be good for, and stuff like that. So, I think I'm going to start with the most important characters, because that's what people care the most. And PvE especially. In PvE, what you are going for is gear farming. Gear farming is 99% of your time spent in the game. Like legitimately you're going to be overnight farming gear, you're going to be farming gear during the day, and during the day you're going to pop in the 10 PvP tickets you have, and then go back to farming gear. That's the game. That's the game loop, right? So PvE is very important, and these characters are important. At the current moment, people are rushing to get to the final stage of gear farming, and these characters are, I believe, the most important for PvE at the current moment. Mars, Lotus, William, and Yami. Yami is very low on this, I disagree. But in any case, the best way to get gear right now is these four characters, because gear sets are important. And the most, I want to say, important gear sets, especially in the beginning, are the red dungeon gear sets. So the enemies are mono red. You're going to want a mono blue team, a strong one. So speed, gold defense, and gold attack are the gear sets you're going for in the dungeon. And these gear sets are going to be working for pretty much every character. So this is why these four characters are immensely powerful in PvE. Mars is an insane tank. Lotus is just a stupid character in general. William and Yami. Yami is the one character out of these four, so you can see they even put him lower, that gets replaced very quickly if you want. If you want to summon for Fauna, once she comes out, she does replace him, but in any case, I would actually not even replace him. I would replace William in PvE. I would replace William and keep Yami, personally, because you want to do the gear stage fast. The gear stage is not hard. You just get the characters geared up, you get to the point where they have decent stuff, you're going to be completing them. The question is, how fast can you complete them at that point? So having the most DPS as possible is what's best. In any case, this is why I personally think that the most important element to go for in the beginning is blue. Eventually, you want to get the other gear sets as well. Gold pen is very good, so you want to have a mono red team as well. Gold HP is very good. Where is it? So you also want to have a mono green. It's not like the mono blue team is the end all be all, but for you to get gold attack is going to help you out so much. Gold attack is the best set in the game because it's extra damage and extra magic attack and attack. You're not going to be really running a 4 set. For mainly attack based characters, you're going to be running just a 2 set with the attack based gears, but in any case, that's the best. And then gold speed is so important for PvP. So you want to have gold speed as fast as possible so you can get ahead of the competition in PvP. So in PvE, those cards are very important. Now they have Fauna here because she's going to come out really soon. She's incredibly good. Do I recommend summoning for her when she comes out? And the thing is that she doesn't get replaced. Yeah. You can still run her in gear farming to this day on JP. So, but she's a regular banner character. You're just going to pull her. Seasonal characters, I believe, should be the characters that you're mainly going to be going for. Now, this website, thankfully, also has the tier list for the current version. So it's good to compare, to think, is this character going to remain relevant by the time of current GP, right? I don't think it's always how you should be looking for stuff. Like, yeah, red Yami falls off. Every character is going to fall off. But you should have the characters as they're good so you can still be winning in PvP, get the gems, extra gems for higher placement, and then, you know, stuff like that. So for PvE, right, what you're looking for definitely is these four. Like, this is the best farming team you're going to have for now. But some other characters are also pretty good. I brushed off other characters. I'm going to be talking about them as well. But I wanted to mainly talk about gear first, like the best gear farming team first. There's also replacements, of course. You can replace characters that you don't have. For example, if you don't have Mars, you can just replace him for another defender, like so. Or, if you don't have William, you can replace him for Charmy, because she's a healer. And, you know, I don't know, I never used Silva, so I don't know how good of a damage character he is, but you can replace Yami for him. You can replace Yami for Jack, although I wouldn't waste resources on Jack. I would keep summoning for Yami. Yami is a very accessible character. You get a free seasonal character. And if you don't get any seasonal characters from summoning, I would personally say Yami is the best choice, then probably Asta. But in any case, I'm just recommending that these are the characters that you should be really looking for. I'm not going to touch too much on the bottom of the tier list. You can see right here, don't work on these characters ever, unless you already have everyone worked on, because it's just a waste of resources, right? So, but in any case, going for, again, the red characters, this is very well put. These four characters are the best for gear farming. Charlotte is a major debuffer, and everyone has Charlotte. As you start the game, you get a guaranteed Charlotte. She is worth working on. I believe, again, personally, the order I would work on, that I am working on characters, is the 4 blue. I am almost at stage 15 on the global right now for gear farming, because I'm just working on these 4 characters, and I'm going to be able to start farming a lot of gear very soon. It is the best way to go about it, and then once I have full good LR sets, I'm just going to transfer those to the red characters and then work on that after. And then, great, that's my order. But Finro is a speed booster. He's also pretty good in PvP, so if you do want to work on him, that's pretty nice. But personally, this is why I just can't stop talking about these 4 characters, the blue team, because if you work on them first, they are also the current meta PvP team. So like, right here, they're look at this. They're the current PvP meta team, because there's no good green DPS until Raya comes out, really, or Licht. Licht is also pretty good, but they're not out in the game right now, right? There's no good green DPS, so blue completely dominates. Like, red Yami cannot damage these characters. The only good red DPS right now really is Asta, because even against mono blue, he can actually kill. Like, if you go first with Asta, let's say you start with Finro, push Asta, and then do like a double attack with Asta on a Yami, you might kill if your Asta is very strong. But going back to PvE, these jumps, it's just, I have to go make the jumps to make sense, right? The jumping from PvP to PvE, but in PvE, again, these 4 you're looking for. If you don't get Academy Asta, I would actually work on the Defender Asta. He is pretty good, and the thing is, with gear farming, especially if you're free to play, so long as you're completing the stage, that's nice. You know, just leave the game farming, and there's the 3-time reward. So long as you're completing the stage and you're not wasting stamina, that's fine, right? So if you're gonna take longer to beat it, sure, that's okay. You could replace Finro for Sally if you get her, or you can if you don't get Yami, because Yami, I was actually going back and forth on this, if I recommend people summoning for Yami. It's not the worst idea, especially because if you really want to farm those gear sets, it's not bad, right? The Green Dungeon gear sets, Gold Pen, and crit damage are pretty good, right? But personally, I think that by the time, it's going to take a long time, by the way, for you to be maxing out LR sets. It's going to take like months. So I think that by the time that these gear sets are necessary for your account, or not even necessary, but nice to have, the necessary ones are Gold Attack and Gold Speed. Those are the 2 necessary gear sets. But maybe even Gold HP. But In any case, by then, Red Yami is gonna be in the general SSR pool, and you might pull him just by pulling on the next seasonal banner. That's why I've been going back and forth and saying I'm not gonna summon for Yami. I'm not summoning for Red Yami because I just decided I'm not gonna waste resources on him. Instead, I'm just gonna make a stupid strong mono blue team, get really good in PvP and farm as much gold attack as possible, like some really, really good gold attack gear sets and regular attack as well. So that's, personally my recommendation. But the mono red is really, really strong. Asta, the good thing about Asta is the double attack that he gets from the ultimate. Being single target makes it really unfortunate for him to gear farm. This is why these two are at the top here, and it's correct. Charlotte with the debuff AoE, and then Yami with the AoE normal attack, especially if you're very strong, can be super powerful. Now, at the current level that we are in power, Yami's normal attack is pretty bad. Like, you're not gonna... It's only really good if you're wiping them with like 1 or 2 attacks, right? But in the current sandbox that we have right now for gear farming, that's not gonna happen. So, it's like a future thing. In any case, yeah, some of the other characters come out. Veto do not summon for Veto. If you're gonna summon for this banner right here, I don't know how they're gonna do it on global, but these two came out together, Raya and Veto. Get Raya and leave. Veto is just not very good. Now Green. Green is by far the weakest element at the current moment, but it's not gonna be for that long. If I jump in here, you can see like Fauna right now just came out on JP. She's stupid good. And Raya is really, really good as well. But in any case, Mimosa's good. Odds is good. It's just that there's no DPS on Green. The only real DPS, for real, for farming is Fugidion. If you get him, that's nice. But he's not good. He's not very good. I would suggest that, you halt on the Green for farming. For the current moment, SR Uno is pretty decent as well. For an SR. In any case, the DPS is just way too low. Like, Rods and Mimosa is such a defensive juggernaut combo that you can tank through a lot, but you're going to be doing it so slow that eventually the enemies catch up to your tanking and you just die. Until Licht and Raya come out, unfortunately Green is very weak. And that's really all there is for PvE farming. It's either gear farming or those random bosses. And for the majority of the time, Mono Blue has been the best for those bosses. It will depend on what the element of the boss is. The first boss was red. So Mono Blue was the best. I don't know how they're going to do, the bosses in sequence, if it's going to be like on JP. But in any case, this is PvE. And PvE is a bit of a weird one to really talk about. Now, when it comes to these lower tier characters, Jack is okay for those bosses I just talked about that eventually are going to be coming out, but not good enough. If you're going to invest on Jack, it's because you already invested in the other like blue characters. You really should be investing all of your resources on the other blue characters, especially Lotus and Mars, because they are very future proof. If I go here in the PvP tier list, Lotus and Mars are still up here. Like, you gotta imagine, this is like what, 8 months? Isn't JP 8 months old or something like that? Lots of months old. And Lotus and Mars are still PvP relatively meta. So they are just way too good for you to not invest in them early on. Now, PvP is a weird one because the early PvP meta on JP in Korea was really weird. When I still played, was going for top 10. So I do have a very good grasp on what the meta looked like. I was going for top 100 in the beginning, then eventually started going for top 10. And it's weird because there was a lot of variation with the top teams, but there were characters that remained consistent. Every single team had Lotus and Mars. Lotus and Mars are just way too OP. They're just genuinely way too OP. And why? So let me actually show. Lotus, and this is how you're going to be beginning every single attack with Lotus and Mars. You're going to be doing the regular special skill, the AoE one, and you're going to be removing buffs and hopefully reducing speed. That's like, this is what you want to get, the reduced speed, and it's chance. You have a 60% chance, and it's really annoying when your Lotus decides not to like speed reduc ever. The only way I would lose in PvP back then was if Lotus decided not to speed reduc, and it was very frustrating. That's because, you know, you're going against bots, so it's very... PvP is so easy if you're just attacking people that you know you're going to win against. The only way I would win is if Lotus decides to, for one, not remove buffs, and for two, not to reduce speed. Mars is absurd. Mars is absurd. So for one, his passive gives debuff immunity to everyone. So remember when I said that Lotus, you know, the speed reduction, for one, he has to remove the debuff immunity from everyone. So you have to first proc a 60% chance with Lotus, and then you have to proc another 60% to reduce speed. There are two 60% chances you're gonna go through if you're facing a Mars. This is why everyone runs Mars. And then you're gonna use a combined attack. The combined attack is this one. With Lotus, is gonna be inflicting taunt, hopefully, on all the enemies. It's just way too good. It's just way too good. And this combo is unbelievable. Every single PvP player is going to be running this. And if they're not, it's because you're in the low tier. Every single high tier PvP player is going to be running this. Now, the other characters is where it can have variation. Oh, and by the way, in terms of gear sets, Lotus, you want to crank speed on him. You really want him to go, you know, fast so you can do the speed reduction. You want to crank speed on him, so gold speed. Gold speed, and then you want him to do some damage. So gold attack, and maybe gold defense. But gold speed, very important. Regular speed is okay, but not good. The thing is with regular speed is that if you have, nah, never mind. Normal speed is not that good. Gold speed is where it's at. The 4-7 with speed plus 5, you're going to be cranking gold speed on a lot of characters. Mainly Lotus and William for PvP. You really want them to be going fast. And then these three as a combo is very good, but mainly these two. Some of the other characters that are very stapled are Radz. His shield is absurd. This is where, you know, I do recommend for PvE for you to go blue first, then maybe red, then maybe green. But if you don't want to go red at all, Radz is your guy. His shield is way too good. Just way too strong. And that's about it. Like, his shield is just way too good. That's it. You want to be giving him... It's magic... Where's the ult? Yep. It's based on magic attack, yes. You want to be giving him as much magic attack as possible so that he can get the strongest shield possible. As in, you want to be giving him the gears that have the magic attack main stat. Don't worry about substats too much at the moment. That's like a future thing. Give him the gears that have magic attack main stat, not regular attack, and he's going to have such a strong barrier. It's really... If you get his barrier up, it's so hard to lose. It's really hard to lose. So having Mars, Lotus, Radz as a combo is what I ran for top 10 in PvP for a long time. And the fourth kept rotating. My fourth in the beginning was obviously Blue Yami. Very good character. And eventually when... oh no, eventually it was Licht. So eventually I replaced him with Licht. So Licht becomes a very good PP as well. But eventually... this bastard is gonna release. This is gonna be a monumental day. If they... I'm scared they're gonna nerf her. Legitimately, because she's just actually way too OP, and every player knows this. I don't know what they did in Canada. She's already released in Canada, right? Actually, I should ask. I don't... If she wasn't nerfed on Canada, she's not gonna be nerfed on Global. I don't think. This character is way too OP. This is why I'm not working on Red Yami. This character is gonna come out in like 2 months, And after that, you don't need to think. The game becomes auto. Everything in the game becomes so unbelievably stupid easy. It doesn't matter. This character is way too strong. In any case, it eventually became that. And after that, I quit the game. So I don't have any other examples of characters I used to go for top 10 in PvP. After Noelle, the game became so boring, I quit the game. So be ready for that. But what you can do, if you want, is use Finro. You still want to use Lotus and Mars all the time. But Finro is one of the fastest characters, and so is Valtos. These two characters are very easy to get, and they're stupid fast. And what they do is they speed boost and propel your team forward, right? So as you do that, you can push another DPS like Asta, and then Asta can potentially kill one of the enemy. Like, he's such a high DPS. If you build him well, he's gonna be potentially one-shotting one of your enemies. Hopefully the DPS Blue Yami. If the enemy has Red Yami, that. If the enemy has 8 odds, very good one to kill from the beginning as well, so he doesn't shield. So that's the idea. It's another combo that you can use is Mimosa and odds together. Like I mentioned for PvE, if you have Mimosa and odds, you become extremely tanky. But this, I find, should be better as a defense team. You have your attack team and you have your defense team. You can use it on attack team as well, but you want to really stall. You're going to probably lose most of your defenses because your defense is an AI. And yes, you can choose the attacks from the AI, but because you can choose before the match doesn't mean that it's going to work out every single match, right? Some matches are going to be different. And the enemy knows exactly what team you have, so they know what to bring. But this is a good for defense. It's also pretty good for attack, but I don't like this sort of playstyle. If you do, you're just going to be very tanky, and you're going to be healing all the time, and you're going to have a strong shield. If you want to really go for this, I would not recommend running like a speed boosting character like Valtus and Finro. I would just go Mimosa, Odds, Lotus, and Mars, and have Lotus as your DPS, because he can do damage. His regular attack does a lot of damage. I don't know what the percentage is, but he does a lot of damage and pushes them back. You can win matches just with Lotus as your DPS, and you keep pushing them back and doing damage to them, and you can win. There's actually a lot of good character PvP when I really look at it. I don't know why Charlotte is so high. To be honest, I never saw Charlotte at all. Because, the debuffing is okay. I don't know. I just think that she's not that strong. But maybe you can make her work. If you don't have many SSRs because you got unlucky and you want to work on her for PvE and PvP, that could work. Yami is a weird one. I am not a big fan of Yami for PvP, mainly because when I look at it, it's like, okay, red is a big disadvantage against mainly almost every team because of Lotus and Mars, and a lot of people are going to be running mono blue. Like Lotus, Mars, William, Yami is going to be a very big time team. So any red character is going to be a big disadvantage. Yami just doesn't do enough DPS. Unlike Asta. Asta does enough DPS to kill someone. Yami not so much. So for PvP, I'm not a big fan of him. But if you do pull for him and you work on him for PvE, he is an okay choice if you go against like the people running green like Valtus and stuff. I am curious to see how many people are going to be running Valtus on global. Valtus only really became a thing a little later on. So that's going to be interesting. Don't worry about Licht and Raya for now, but they will be good, mainly Licht. His ultimate is very strong. The problem that I have with them is that they're very short-lived in PvP, because this bastard this bastard just completely ruined the game. But in any case, if you do want someone for them when they come out, it's your choice. Some interesting combos that you can use. Rill is a little low on this list, but Rill can be very annoying. If you want to really lean into the stun, you can go for it, but it's very RNG. I personally do not like this kind of character that you really like are praying for the stun to hit, because it's not. How much is the percentage again? It's 50. No, it's 40. It doesn't go up. If you are going against a Rill, it's 100%. If you are using Rill, it's 0. So personally, I like this kind of character that's like very RNG based, but in any case. And then there's Fugodion and Nozel. This is a combo people started running like a little later after the game came out that kind of worked, but only if you have the max duped. And it was like people used it for like a week and then it fell off. So don't really recommend working on these characters for PvP specifically. And I think that's it. Like all the other characters are not really even worth talking about. Fauna, again, is a character that's not out in the game yet, but she actually is pretty decent in PvP as well. I never got to work on my Fauna on Korea because I just felt like I was doing enough DPS with my current team, which was at odds, Lotus, Mars, and Yami. This team was working pretty well, and then Licht, replaced Yami with Licht. And by then, when I started thinking of working on Fauna, she came out. And I was like, I don't have to work on a character ever again. So, she's still meta. Like, she's still meta on JP. Weird. In any case, that's about it. That's the tier list again. If you want to keep up with the tier list as it goes, I'd recommend bookmarking this website if they make any adjustments. And if you want to take a look at any characters, unfortunately, what they don't have, and maybe I'll DM someone I know that could maybe get this going. If you go on a character, there's no part that says like recommended gear sets. I think a lot of people would like this, but in any case, if you want to know what gear to use in which character, take a look at their stats, right? So for example, let me go Blue Yami and Licht, right? I think this is a good one. Blue Yami has very high regular attack and very low magic attack. I mean, you can look at what their skills do, right? So maybe that's better, but in any case, right? He has very high attack, very low magic attack. Yeah, Licht is the opposite. He has very high magic attack, low attack. This means that Yami wants regular attack gear, and Licht wants magic attack gear. That's pretty much it, right? That's pretty much it. In any case, obviously you want to also look at like what's their crit damage, what's their crit chance. That also helps, but I don't really recommend giving like gold speed to DPSs. I think that mainly like a character that once should go fast, like William or Finral, then you give gold speed. In any case, the best gear set ever for the DPSs is gold attack. That's going to be your best bet. And mainly Chu set, you want to have the Chu attack gears, and then Chu attack gears of pen, Chu attack gears of crit damage. That's been like the best for DPSs, and that's pretty much it.